No, 2 weeks ago, I just completely forgot. I just, like, I'm getting that old where I just literally, like, the next day went, I think I had a webinar last night. Completely forgot.
That would explain why you weren't there.
It would. I mean, I'm literally like that dumb now. It's so weird.
Well, that's okay. I think there's a law. I think there's several of us that are in that little path.
Well, not only that, like literally, I'm alone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's sort of like time is an irrelevant thing.
Oh well.
Which I'm not upset. I'm not spitting my little violin. Just saying, it's like it's very easy to forget what time it is when you're not. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what happens to me. I usually remember that it's that Wednesday about 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
And then I scurry to get on, and it's like, okay, is there anybody there, or have they all gone home by now?
No, and then it's at 7 o'clock, not 8, but then it's me, like just, and I think I've lost a lot of my audience because I've been so just fly by night, and it's since since I was in the hospital for those couple of months. Since then, I've been just very fly by night, like really no concept.
Yeah.
Weird. So how have you been?
Yeah, I can't complain.
Good.
Just trying to not get the Rona like everybody else.
Exactly. Well, I mean, do you have any comorbidities, or
Pardon?
do you have any like anything wrong with you other than? I mean, do you have any general health problems?
No, just
Don't
old, mean, and ugly. That's all.
If you get the coronavirus, you probably would be okay. I think like 70 and above, where age is considered an issue.
Yeah, no, I think I'm okay so far.
But I mean, even if you get it, my point is you'd be okay, unless you have something you don't know about. Like prior to my going into the hospital this year, if somebody had asked me, "Do you have any comorbidities?" I'd be like, "No, I'm fine." And then all of a sudden, now I have a blood clot issue, which I never had before. Hey Matthew, how are you? It has something like a 0.02% death
Pretty
rate.
good.
I'm sorry?
I thought you said, hey, how are you? I said, pretty good.
I did say, hey, how are you? But you didn't answer right away, so I started talking. How are you being?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'd be spectacular.
Well, I'm getting my headset situated, so if you'll give me just a moment.
Oh, please, take your time. It's so funny when you talk about, like, not funny, haha, but funny, strange. We talk about, like, COVID. You know how many people died from, like, cancer last year?
Oh, I know. Nobody's paying any attention to that or to the opioids or anything like that.
I know.
But
notice nobody's died of flu this year?
I know. Nobody's died of anything else except COVID.
I know. And it's so funny because, like, literally the stats are this. Heart disease is 650,000 deaths per year. Cancer is 580,000 deaths per year. If you take away all the comorbidities, and these are CDC numbers, if you take away the comorbidities, all comorbidities from the COVID deaths, it's something around 11,000.
Yeah.
And comorbidities include things like gunshot wounds to the head, motorcycle accidents.
Oh, I know, but they had COVID.
Right. So the gunshot didn't kill them.
No, the gunshot didn't kill them. The COVID did.
Right.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's all a bunch of, I mean, I'm one of the vulnerable now because of this new issue that I have. But prior to this, I was like kind of hoping, I was like rooting for it so that I wouldn't have to worry about it. Let me get it and then I'll be good. And you know how they talk about everybody knows somebody who's had it or somebody who's had it? I literally know one person who's had it. Well, two people. I consider this one. Hi, Herbert. How are you? So my niece had the COVID, and the COVID went like this for her. She was ordering DoorDash. She was quarantining herself in her bedroom. Running, you know, she has a big, huge master suite, so she's running around her master suite. She has 4 sons, so she didn't have to do baby watch. So she was chilling, ordering DoorDash. She was having a ball.
Huh.
Hi, John. How are you? Oh, we have a full group here tonight. Adam, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Spectacular. So glad to hear your voice. Nobody ever talks to me except Carolyn. And Matt said hello too. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. You guys have any notes, questions? We're here to talk about notes. That's what it's all about, or conversation, things you want to contribute.
Well, I'm a first timer, so I'm just kind of here to test the waters and see what's happening.
You are welcome to ask any question you like as a first timer. Oh, John,
I'll see how everything's going first, and then I'll chime in. Okay.
Oh, don't be bashful.
I'm literally the least, the person you have to be the least bashful with ever.
Okay.
Ever. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Jerome. Hi, John. Well, Carolyn, tell me some good news. Have you bought any notes? What's been going on?
And no, just have a couple that I'm working through. That's all. Nothing exciting.
Well, tell me how the workouts are going. What are you doing?
They're not. I'm trying to get some legal straightened out first with them before I make a mess.
Okay. And what do you mean make a mess? How is it sort of?
Well, yeah, I got one that I gotta get a brain fart. I gotta get the allonge corrected.
The launch. Yeah, if the assignments are okay?
The assignment seemed, well, there was a corrected assignment done previous, but they didn't correct the allonge. And when I went to start down the legal process, the attorney that's involved kind of hollered, well, we got to get this corrected first. And I, well, okay, I'll play the game.
So the problem with the allonge, would it be something like one bank took over another?
Yeah, something along that line. And then the other one, I'm just kind of sitting on for about another 3 days until I get legal started on that one.
All right. Well, what are the states these are in? Hey, Jackie, how are you?
Pennsylvania and Indiana.
Pennsylvania is going to be quite the length of time for foreclosure. They always go long. Very judicial.
Well, I'm hoping these don't really turn into foreclosures.
Yeah, of course.
I'm just trying to encourage the borrower that they do really need to pay.
Right. So always the end game is to send the demand letter. You have a PA attorney? I have a great one.
You know, actually, I've got a nice attorney that I'm happy with.
Okay, good.
And everybody's being patient with me, so.
What's his name? I wonder if it's the same as mine.
Hers, but that's okay.
Herbs?
Hers.
Oh, hers. Oh, well, then it's definitely not the same as mine.
Right. Okay.
All right. Well, anybody else? Jay, you have anything you want to share with us today?
Yeah, yes, I would like to say welcome back.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah.
Welcome back to you too, because I'm here. So now welcome back to you.
Thank you. So do we have a topic today?
Well, our topic is always Q&A. I don't have any major topic today. Yeah, no.
Okay, so I
Topic
heard,
anything you want it to be.
okay, I heard you two talking about, I guess possible trouble with collecting on loans. Is that right?
That's always the problem, isn't it?
Uh,
No, it's not a problem. It's just working through the process, shall we say.
Right. But we buy delinquent loans generally.
Right.
So it's getting the borrower to pay is always the intended result since they're not paying to begin with.
Let's see now. Let's see, Kathy, your sound is breaking up, but the other young lady sound I can hear well.
My sound is breaking up. I have a headphone. How is that possible?
You sound like you're very far away.
Huh. Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can fix it. Everybody else has that same experience?
Yes, actually, I am having a little bit of a, you do sound like you're on a distant mic.
Huh. Interesting.
I do have a question on that Allonge issue.
By all means. Is that better?
Not on my end. I can hear the young man pretty good.
Is that Allonge issue? Is that from an institutional or a seller finance loan?
Institutional.
It's institutional.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I think it's a state issue because it's on the, I'm having the question on the note from Indiana. So since it was questioned over there, I went back to my counsel that's handling the one for the state of Pennsylvania. And I said, am I going to have a similar problem in the state of Pennsylvania? Just asking the know for future reference kind of thing. To which the response was, nope, no problem, just assignments. And I said, okay, fine. So it must be something with the state of Indiana that I missed.
I mean, the Allonge problem being specific to.
Yeah, I think the launch problem is specific to the state of Indiana, and I probably just missed it, and that's all right.
So can you guys
We'll get
hear
it
me better
fixed.
now?
Pardon?
Can you hear me better now?
I cannot.
I'm sorry, Jay.
I cannot hear you better.
Oh. I don't know what to do. I have a little technological disadvantage here. Oh, can you hear me better now?
I cannot.
Are you wearing a headset or are you using your actual computer?
No, I'm totally wearing a headset.
Try turning up your volume in the headset.
How is this? Is this better?
Oh, much
there you
better.
go. There you go.
Oh, so apparently it's like my USB plug because all of
There
a
you go.
sudden
Yeah.
my USB plug had my headset turned off.
Oh.
So if it's better, so I was actually speaking to you, what you were hearing me was through my computer microphone because this
Yeah.
wasn't working at all. How
There you go.
fascinating.
There you go.
All right. Well, I feel so much better now.
Yeah, you're present.
Very exciting. Oh, we lost 2 people during that drama, but that's okay.
Okay.
So, so what was your question about, Jay? What did you want to know? Now that everybody can hear me.
Oh, I want to know what you would look forward to with many people possibly not able to pay their bills. I guess all their bills.
Well, it's interesting. We've been having ridiculous numbers of payoffs this year. We've had it just in the last 2 months, I think 8 payoffs, 9 payoffs. So I don't know how to answer that because I'm not being affected by that yet. And I'm not sure I will be because I don't know if you were on the call when I made the announcement that we're going to shut PAC down. We're kind of done.
Oh no, I missed that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, we're shutting it down. We're done.
Oh, when is the last day?
Well, we have inventory and stuff that we need to get rid of and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so it's no specific end date, but we intend to stop being active, I think, on like the 1st of January.
Oh,
We're just, it's no big deal. It's no fallout or anything. We're all still really good friends and we're just, we've made our money and now it's time to go enjoy it.
oh, okay.
Time to go have
That's
fun.
a good thing.
Exactly. Time for me to go hang out with my grandbabies.
Oh yeah.
So in the portfolio that y'all are liquidating, is that modify or back to performing, or are they mainly still distressed assets or NPLs?
So we're going to keep all of our performers and because we get a nice residual income from it.
Right.
But we're going to, and they're all boarded with a servicer anyway. So it's really just a matter of just getting a check. So I think after the first of the year, mainly because we've made far too much money this year. And I know that's a horrible problem, but we're going to put out a tape of our assets, which are non-performers.
And how does one get on the list to get that tape?
Did you fill out an NDA with us?
A long time ago.
Oh, well, then that's all you need. Well, I told you we never really sell assets.
Yeah, I know. We've had this conversation.
But now we're going to sell assets. So, yeah, if you filled out an NDA with us, you'll get it.
Okay, so the fact that I'm sitting here filling out yet another one.
Oh,
I'll definitely be on your list.
Excellent.
So you can go on and fill that out to do a NDA?
Yeah, go to paperassetscapital.com. And I think there's a tab called Trade Desk.
Are you going to sell them in one bulk in pools or?
If you buy the whole tape, you'll probably get it cheaper than if you cherry pick.
Right. Oh yeah, no, I'm looking for larger pools anyway, so that's why I'm asking that. So if you're just trying to one-off them, or if you're gonna throw a tape and sell the whole thing, so.
Yeah, I don't know how large it is. We stopped buying assets a while ago, knowing this was where we were heading. So I think there's only maybe like 20 notes on it.
So y'all aren't trying to reposition for post-COVID kind of charge-offs and then default assets in that next market, or?
No, we're just shutting down. we're done. We're finished.
I got you.
I want to buy a camper van. I want to do #van life and go. I do. I love it, and go hang out with my grandkids.
So are the calls going to continue, or are those going to kind of end as well?
Well, it's interesting because some people have been asking me, are you still going to do your classes? Are you still going to do the calls? The problem is I love notes. So I'm not I'm not so sure I'm going to say they're absolutely not going to continue, but I'll probably do them more like once a month, which is probably what they're kind of working out to be at the moment anyway. So somewhere in that area, I think. And of course, I love to do the classes, so I'll do those too. And with my hashtag van life, I can do them anywhere.
So kind of back to Jay's question about collecting, money. I've seen, obviously, there's a lot of loan mods and stuff, and forbearance agreements that are out there. And forbearance agreements I've seen, actually, I have one where the forbearance agreement was agreed to, and they made a payment, and she stopped paying and basically said, I need some help. And so we were going to redo her deed and convert it over to a mortgage, lower the interest rate, and she qualified for access to FHA to get some grant money to do repairs on the home. Anyways, in between doing all of this, it's like her house was condemned and she's out. So now I have a property that's in ill repair. She's going to sign a deed in lieu over. But I'm kind of seeing, a couple of things. One, values when, these things revert as and you take them back as an REO or whatever. It's like, as these things are coming back, there are two different things. It's like I'm seeing values in some areas being very, very overinflated. And then I'm seeing some that it's like, are basically upside down based on what they borrowed. And so I'm just kind of wondering what other people are kind of seeing in the marketplace. I mean, some are like hot areas, I will admit to that. But like, I'm here in California and they're ridiculously high. But, even some areas like, Utah, North Carolina is, the values are just like through the roof. But in some of the other states in the Midwest, I'm seeing values that are below what they actually borrowed.
Right. I mean, so I live in New Jersey, and in the New York area, it's very much the same way, very inflated values. It's interesting because, people are talking about Seattle as example.
Yeah.
That people are leaving Seattle in droves, which is true, they are, but for every 2 people that leave, 3 are moving in.
Yeah.
So property values are not going down. But then you look at a city like New York, which is every single day, the entire city is loaded with moving trucks. So it's, and what is it? What are they up to? 17,000 vacancies now in the city. But the property values are maintaining. So how do you figure that? In this world of COVID, I would say it's almost impossible to figure it out. When you're looking at New York, take New York City, for example, where a studio apartment can be $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month. And there are 17,000 vacancies to the point where landlords are saying, hey, 4 months free rent if you move in. And yet property values of homes, owned homes, are rising.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And some of the sellers, I've been seeing are basing, they're selling based off of values versus unpaid principal balances, or basically equities. But it's hard to believe those equities. I mean, even when you look at your different things and you send out a realtor and a week later you send out a second realtor, and it's like it's completely different.
Well, are you talking about first or second position notes?
Yes.
Like you're talking first.
Yes, exactly. First, right. Yeah.
So first position notes, first of all, I don't buy first positions. I lose money every time I buy them. But if you're going to talk about first position notes, it's always on the lower of the UPB or the BPO. So I don't know if that's what you're paying, but if the UPB is 500,000, but the value is 200,000 of the house, then you pay on the 200,000, not the 500,000.
Right. It's just hard to like set a value when you go, to like sell the property. you know, even as an as is value. I mean, just wholesaling it to a fix and flipper or something just to get rid of the REO is like, you know, they are just all over the place. And I've just noticed like, you know, they're not as strong as they used to be. Is what a perfect example is Michigan. You know,
Yeah.
it's like Michigan, it was like very high there in the spring of this year. And now this last part of the year, the values have really dropped.
Well, you know, do you want to live under authoritarian lockdown forever? Because that's what Michigan offers. That's
Yeah.
why, you know what I mean? So
And right
it's,
now, that's kind of everywhere. I mean, I'm in California. Talk about authoritarian lockdown.
well, I live under Comrade Murphy. So,
There you go.
you know, I got you. But that's why I want to hashtag van life so I can go to Florida.
Try to find me.
Exactly. So, but you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, California, you're talking about like areas that are inflated. Look at the streets of San Francisco where people are defecating on the streets and there's needles. And then right across the street is a $4 million townhouse.
Yeah.
Mm.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. And it's the same thing down here. I mean, you know, you go to Bel Air and these big, huge gated communities. And then, you know, right there as you get off the freeway, it's like there's tent cities.
Exactly.
Same thing. And our mayor refuses to clean up the garbage. And so they're just living in their own sewer and swaller. And it's, you know, and here's like $18 million homes.
It's even worse now, you know, in that they have
And
started,
now the high value are not selling.
the homeless people have started tapping into streetlights for electricity, which is ridiculously unsafe.
Yes.
So you could have an $18 million house next to a tent city that could go up in flames one day.
Mm.
Because they're they're tapping into streetlights for electricity.
Yeah, it's very, very, very dangerous.
And nobody's bothering them anymore, so they're really getting more and more semi-permanent. Some of them even have doorbells.
Oh. To their tent?
Yeah, because they have electricity.
Oh.
Because they've tapped into a streetlight for electricity.
And they're building full tent cities. I mean, they are like almost like a community of tents.
Right. And the police used to go kick them out, but now with, you know, Comrade Newsom,
Yep.
nobody bothers them. So
Yeah.
they're becoming more and more permanent, semi-permanent.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, and, you know, even out here, it's okay, you know, to like, you know, protest and stuff, but you can't go to your church, you know? I mean, it's just all these things. It's okay for him to go to a restaurant, but everybody else is prohibited from going.
Oh, and to go to French Laundry.
Right, exactly. Very expensive.
Spectacular, right?
And he can send his kids to private school, but everybody else, you need to keep your kids home from school and do like, you know, online training with them. You know, so it's just do as I say, not as I do out here. But now there's the kickback that's coming, even with the mayor of Los Angeles. But it's crazy to me. And it's like the values are so unstable, I guess is the right word to say, because I don't think people really know.
They're artificially inflated.
Exactly. I call them over bubbly.
Yeah.
But artificial inflation is exactly what it is. And it's kind of scary, I think, for people to like, you know, take what's left of their money if they're still employed and stuff and invest in real estate, because is the value gonna all of a sudden the bottom gonna fall out or the bubble's gonna burst, whatever you know.
Oh, I think it is. And I think after this census, you're going to find out that you're going to lose one or two Congress people.
Yes.
Which I think is definitely needed. Necessary.
I do too. I think it'll kind of balance things out too, but
yeah,
you know, hopefully.
But the point being, if you don't have you know, each congressperson is worth 750,000 people. So point being, if you don't have population, you don't have desire for homes, especially, you know, at a certain point, there's going to be more homes than people. Still not at that point yet in California, but eventually it'll be there.
You're absolutely right, because I think you are seeing that in certain areas, you know, especially in the smaller towns that never really bounced back from the 2008, 2009 disaster. And I think, you know, now this is hitting and now they're really in trouble.
Right.
But it's like, I think you're absolutely right. I think some of these places are just going to get deeper and deeper. And, I was talking with my husband, we were talking about how dangerous Brooklyn used to be. And then it was regentrified and all these people are in there buying these huge homes and, massive amounts and stuff. And now it's like, it's going back to a ghost town.
Well, Brooklyn is the new Manhattan. Manhattan isn't even as
Right.
cool as
Well, that's
Brooklyn
true
now.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
That's
even as cool.
everybody's moving out of Manhattan. But it's like, things that I don't know. It's like the cycle's coming around almost 360. You can kind of almost see it starting to happen. Like Michigan is like, it was starting to go up, up, up as it was regentrifying. And now bang, COVID hit and it's starting to go backwards again.
Well,
So-
right. I think anybody who's living under one of these comrades is having a problem in their state as far as values and that kind of thing. Except for, interestingly enough, Seattle. It's so strange.
Yeah.
It's so strange that a company just left a $9 billion tech company, I think called Tansian, is leaving San Francisco to move to Seattle, like out of the fire into the flame.
Mm.
I mean, what is the point in doing that for real?
Well, he's joining, what's his name? The Microsoft Antichrist up there, I guess.
Yeah, Bill Gates.
So
I'm with you, sister. I am with you.
Bill Gates Antichrist.
Exactly.
Leaving San Francisco and going up to Washington.
It's just it's
So-
all so strange. I will tell you on a political front for just a second, real quick, on the California front, the movement to get rid of Newsom
Yeah.
has been given new life. They went to court, were given an extension due to COVID to March 31st, I think. And they have 1.5 million signatures still to get. And I think they have 800,000 of those. So I think they're down to only needing 700,000 signatures for the recall.
It's amazing. In I want to say the summer, it was out there, to kick Newsom out, and people were signing the ballot and stuff. And now all of a sudden, with this last shutdown that we've had in our state, it's like every grocery store, every pharmacy you go to, people are out there, sign the petition.
Yeah.
And it's like people are, excuse my language, but people are pissed.
They're outraged.
Businesses are dying. Kids, my next door neighbor is a teacher, and he said half of his English class is failing. And they're the kids that are right on the bubble, 5th and 6th grade. So he calls them transition students. And he says, you've had 2 years of these kids, and they call them, like the lost years of these kids, where they're transitioning from elementary to middle or middle to high school, and they're failing. He goes, they're on my website every day. They're online every day, but they're failing.
Yeah.
They just are so far behind. And I think it's so sad.
And you want to know what sucks about that? I don't get part of my property tax back.
Exactly. Or when he does that, it's like, wake up, Newsom, because guess who's paying your salary? Why don't you go without a paycheck instead of all these like business owners and restaurants?
Hey, listen.
I could go on
Listen. Governor Cuomo got a $25,000 raise this year.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good.
Exactly. This is
Not
what these
good.
people don't realize. They're not going without a paycheck. They work in government, which is useless.
Yeah.
They're not going without a paycheck.
Yeah, I'm not a
I know
fan
what
of
that's
that
like.
either. So it's like, really, it's like, I don't like these people, do
Well,
as I say, not
especially-
what I do.
Listen, especially when Governor Cuomo is a mass murderer,
Mm-hmm.
as
Right.
is Governor Whitmer, as is Comrade Murphy, who I live under, as is Governor Wolf. They're all mass murderers.
Oh, guess who ended up with COVID today?
Who?
Comrade Wolf.
I'm sure he's going to be fine.
I'm
This is the
waiting
only
for his
reason I'm
I'm
laughing.
waiting for his girlfriend to end up with it. I'm sorry if I have offended anybody by that comment.
No,
No, listen, the only reason I'm laughing is I'm sure he'll be fine. There's like a 0.02 death rate with COVID. And yeah, I love the way they keep talking about these spikes and the ICUs are full. They're full because there's only a few ICU beds. They're usually running at 80% capacity.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. It's Project Fear. It's the same as Brexit. They're Project Fear. They keep talking about the increase in cases. You haven't talked about increase in the death rate.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And people get the flu every year. And, you
Except
know,
nobody's died from flu this year.
exactly.
Not one person, Cindy.
You know, and it's like, and they get it every year. And it's like, we just have to learn, you know, to deal with this COVID. And I agree that it is a fear tactic. I think it is highly contagious and it is, you know, scary if you get it. But on the other hand, it's like, you know, it just doesn't make sense. It's like they're not thinking through what their strategic plans are. They just implement things and then blame everybody else for it not working. Then they
But it's
finger
everybody. But you're clear, like the common cold is a coronavirus, right?
right.
Right.
Like it really is.
Yes.
And before you came on the call, what Carol and I were talking about, 650,000 people died last year from heart disease.
Right.
Last year, 580,000 people died from cancer. Do you know how many people are going to die from cancer this year because they cut off elective surgeries and they couldn't get in to find out if people had cancer?
Yeah.
And now they're going to die from metastasized cancer?
No, they're not going to die from cancer. Remember, everybody has COVID this year.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. Gunshot wound to the head, died from COVID.
Die from cancer.
Yeah.
Or COVID,
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Died from COVID. That's right. Or as I like to call it, the CCP virus.
And what does that stand for?
A Chinese Communist Party.
Oh, there you go. Okay. The CCP virus. I gotcha. Okay. I thought it was a disease.
No.
That is a disease.
No, that's it. I will tell you, I'm flying down to Florida. I'm getting out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Getting out of Dodge.
I will tell you, I was down there probably about 3-4 weeks ago, and it was wonderful.
Amazing, right?
It was like a whole new country. You took the mask off when you got off the airplane, and you didn't even think about it until you got back on the airplane.
I know. There's two words that I'm hating, that I desperate, as 3 words actually, but 2 words as a phrase. New normal. I'm sick and tired of those words. I don't ever want to hear those words again. The
I'm
third
sick
word
of-
is reimagine.
Reimagine. I'm sick of the word pivot. If I hear you just have to pivot one
Yeah.
more time, I think I'm gonna like,
I don't want to reimagine my police force. I don't want to reimagine my life. And I don't want a new normal.
mm-hmm.
My daughter one time asked me, because we have these conversations a lot. So my daughter one time asked me, what do I think would make life better all the way around? And my response was going back to the 1950s.
Oh, amen.
Believe
Yeah.
it or not, that's when life was truly really good.
Yeah.
Keep all of our modern stuff, but go back to the values, the lifestyle of the 1950s.
I know you think about that. It's like people got jobs, they worked until they retired. There was loyalty with your employers. Now there's absolutely no loyalty. They'll let you go for the color of nail polish you wear, and the bosses can sit there and harass you and browbeat you and bully you, and you can't say anything or they'll let you go. They let all their experience go of the older people that have worked for them for years so they can hire the cheap newbie labor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no loyalty whatsoever in the workforce. You know, these new kids, these millennials, they want everything like right now. They don't want to have to work for it or earn it. Not all of them, I'm broad brushing it, but it's just a different mentality out there, and it's very, very sad. You know, it's like I always grew up, you know, if you want something, you work for it and you earn it.
But
You
you
know,
know what's making me laugh is this whole forgiving a student loan.
Oh man,
And it
that
makes me
makes me mad.
laugh because most people have student loans in the range of $40,000 to $50,000.
yeah,
Those of us in the real world know that that's a car loan.
Yeah.
It's not enough to end your life. It's a car loan. Albeit a nice car, but a car loan nonetheless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, really? The whole world has to pay for your idiocy because you got a degree in lesbian dance theory?
Yeah.
Nobody cares about lesbian dance theory. It's not marketable.
I totally agree. And are you going to give vouchers back to those who went ahead and for years have been paying on their student debt? Look at all these doctors and stuff out there that have hundreds of thousands of debt. And now the government comes in and says, this is all you can charge for your procedure.
Right.
You can't even afford your insurance. So you have to join an HMO,
Right.
you know, and it's just, you know, it's like, are you going to reimburse them for all their loans because they, you know, chose something to be successful at?
Or what about the plumber with 4 kids who didn't buy fancy anything and didn't take vacation so he could pay for his kids' college versus the
Yeah.
guy who said, oh, yeah, no problem. I'll get reimbursed for my college or I'll take loans. No big deal.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So I know, I'm so disgusted with the whole world, right? It's like upside down, down is up. Nothing is right. Everything is bizarre.
Well, everybody has their hand out, pay me, pay me, pay me. And in the meantime,
So bizarre.
yeah. And here's entrepreneurs taking all the risk and they're being held, you know, well, you know, it's like, you know, I was kind of laughing at Newsom on this latest one. It's like, well, anybody that has like a retail business, we're going to delay you having to pay us, you know, up to $1 million of your sales tax, you know, for the next 3 months. You don't need to submit that to us and stuff. He doesn't say anything about, but it's still due. So all he's doing is kicking the can down the road.
Right.
And it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, but it's still due. Why don't you give these guys a break? Because they haven't been open for that, you know, for very long, let's be honest. I mean, and at 25% capacity or whatever, it's like, why don't you give these people a pass and say, don't pay your sales tax for the next 3 months?
He can't give them a break though, because the state of California is broke.
Well, yeah, that's. the
I
other-
love the way they keep talking about that they have excess funds and that their budget is balanced. They're broke.
They're broke
Completely and
it's
utterly
like,
broke.
and there's so many other states that are broke, and I'm sick and tired of these states looking for funding through some of these stimulus packages that they're trying to get to the people that are unemployed and the small business owners. It's like all these like politicians are trying to say, well, but our state needs funding for this, and you know, the statue of the man with the horse with the, you know, flag riding in on the, it's like, no, it's like, you know, our economy's in trouble. That's where it needs to go. We're not here to bail the states out that can't balance their budget, and that's it. I
Well,
mean,
that's the point.
California has the highest tax in the country, you know, and I know.
Oh no, it doesn't. New Jersey does. New Jersey has California beat.
It does.
Yeah.
I thought New York would, but they're actually.
No.
And I think Pennsylvania has everybody beat for gas tax.
I believe that.
Well, I'm talking about tax in general. I mean, you know, we have high gas tax, and I agree with you on New Jersey. I think it's ridiculous, but it's like, you know, between our sales tax, our income tax, you know, whatever, our gas taxes, everything else, it's like ours is pretty high in California all the way around. But
we
were
used to have
talking
one
about-
benefit here in Jersey, which was cheap gas, because the gas is
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
This is where it is. And Christie ended all of that with the
Yeah.
25-cent per gallon gas tax,
Yeah.
which I realize compared to California is nothing. But it used to be the one perk for living in Jersey was cheap gas that you did not have to pump yourself.
Right. I know that blew me away when we went to, you know, it's like I have a sister-in-law that lives in New Jersey, and it's like, you know, you drive through, my husband's from Long Island. So, it, you know, if we drove over there to Jersey to see his sister, and it's like, you go through and it's like, oh my God, you can't pump gas here.
Well, not only that, it's
Yeah.
illegal for you to pump gas.
I know, it's so funny. But anyways, so that was eye-opening. But
Hey,
anyway.
Kathy,
Yes.
what type of, are you seeing any slippage in your actual performing portfolios right now because of COVID?
Well, that's what got us down this rabbit hole.
Oh, I've enjoyed all of it. Trust me, it's all true. But yes, I get it. So,
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you.
yeah.
What started the whole conversation is what's interesting is that COVID, again, down is up and up is down. Places that, like, for example, New York, which are largely empty, the property values are maintaining. Places like California, the property values are maintaining. And then you go to a place like like Cindy was talking about, Michigan, which was on the up and, you know, was on the rise for gentrification and new jobs and everything else, and now all of a sudden is back to being a shithole. So it's sort of, in terms of property values. So it's sort of like up is down and down is up. The answer is I don't know. In terms of money, we've had so many payoffs this year.
Yeah, I had a few
Because-
in my IRA that paid off, and then it's crazy. But I'm
Right.
more wondering if like your payments coming in, if you're seeing any slippage from payments on performings.
So let me say this to you. Okay, a better question, more specific.
Okay.
So let me say this. We originally, when COVID first started happening, we realized people were going to be unemployed. As a group, we got together and came up with a like a forbearance plan. And so like preemptively, what we would be willing to accept. So far to date, of all of our performers, of which we have a lot, because Kathy is a workout queen, we have had one person take us up on it.
Hmm.
If that's not crazy.
No, from kind of where I sit, I mean, we're not seeing a lot of slippage either. So it's
Right.
It's just interesting that people are still paying their mortgage, and people are still, you know, even I don't know what they're not paying, but they're paying that. So
Yeah, it's
Do you think
crazy.
it goes back to the fear factor. People are afraid of losing their homes.
Well, I think here's what people are afraid of. I think people know that if they don't pay it now, they're just going to have to pay it later. And why not pay it now?
yeah, because even if you're not paying, you're doing fees and everything's calculating and adding up. So even if
Correct.
I get that. I get that thought.
Yeah. I mean, if it was me, not for nothing, I always tell people, really, if you were actually let's say your mortgage payment is $1,000 a month. If you were to pay 500 and 500, you'd actually pay it off faster, because mortgage is recalculated every time money is received.
Right.
And so even making the same $1,000 payments broken up into two payments re-amortizes the loan much faster. So it's just crazy. So that would be my answer to you, Matt. Matt or Matthew.
It doesn't matter. Matt's fine. Yeah, I'll go to either.
I was married to a Matthew, and he wanted to be called Matthew. So I always ask.
I appreciate that, but I'm good either way. Thank you, though.
Thank you. And you sound like you're from North Carolina, Georgia area.
Originally from Mississippi, but I live up in Manhattan now. So.
Okay. Oh, you live in hell. Good for you.
Yeah, pretty much. Everything's boarded up. I mean, it's amazing how much is boarded up, and just storefronts, and just not boarded up, but just empty lease signs. And you just go all the way up the west, Columbus, and they're everywhere. It's just,
I have a theory on de Blasio. I think he's doing this on purpose, because I think he wants to buy cheap real estate.
well, he's definitely doing a good job. His plan seems to be working out.
I mean, seriously, when you have an apartment on the Upper West Side, and you have like a W hotel on your block that's filled with homeless people that are shooting up, it's a problem.
Yeah, we were at 72nd, so there was right up the road was one of those. So.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, Manhattan is actually crappier than Brooklyn now. Who would have figured?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Anyway,
So are you seeing these loans being paid off because people are selling and getting out of Dodge, or
no, it's because property values are so good.
they're so
People
good?
are refinancing
Or that's what was my other question. Are they
and paying
refinancing?
us out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
It's amazing. It's so my niece just bought a house 2 years ago, and she's already refinancing to get a better interest rate and to get some money out so she can put a generator, I think, underground in the house.
Are you seeing your refis and your payoffs be higher end, and in the sense of, are they the higher end part of the borrowing pool, meaning they have the 720 kind of scores and they have high equity, things like that? Or are you
Well, you have to remember everything we've all of our borrowers were delinquent, right? So none of them have great credit scores. And it takes it takes 3 months to completely obliterate your credit. It takes 8 years to reinstate your credit, right?
Mhm.
So, none of them have amazing credit. The point being, though, it's so easy to refinance now, and the homes are worth more money now that the banks don't have a problem doing it. The CLTV is a good amount. You know what I mean? It's like 100 or less.
Because what I've heard is most of it is refi, but it's not like the lower band of like 640. Borrower can't buy their first home, but you can refi if you have equity. Is that what you're saying or not?
No, I mean, I'm seeing, like I said, a lot of my borrowers still have questionable credit ratings. So, and they're still able to refi. So no, I can't say that's the case for me.
Hmm.
Cannot say that.
Some of the refis that, some of the people have told me that they're like not getting like, the 2%, it's still their interest rates are still, within the, 5-7% range and stuff, because of the, income to debt ratios.
Well, right. If you're have like a lower credit rating, high income to debt ratio, or debt to income ratio rather, obviously you're gonna pay a higher rate, but that 2% is not being given commercially. It's more like 3.5, 3.25. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I don't know of anybody who's gotten a 2% loan at this point. The lowest I've heard is 3.
Yeah, the lowest I think I've seen has been 3.25, but you're absolutely right. It's like everybody's like, oh, the interest rates are so low. Well, good luck getting that low interest rate.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Commercially, it's just not going to happen. I mean, people would like it to happen, but it's not going to happen. Well, this has been a great conversation. I have enjoyed this tremendously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I agree.
Problem is, I'm a ridiculously political person, and I kind of like do it pretty much all day long. You could like ask me anything, I could tell you about it. I study it all day long. I follow it like sports.
Well, we need more people who can talk like that. I'll put it to you that way. So without
Yeah,
being out afraid to say anything, no matter where you're at, especially in New York and things, you say the wrong thing, you might get Antifa'd. So
oh God. The bane of our existence is the low informed voter.
There you
Seriously, it's the bane of our existence.
go. Ignorant.
Oh my gosh. You know how many people basically said after the election, when they finally started letting the Hunter Biden story out, said that if they had known this before the election, they would have voted for Biden.
yeah, I've read that too.
Well, the only ones that I saw reporting on the Hunter Biden thing was actually Fox News. Every other news station refused to report it.
That's right. And the New York Post,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, yeah.
And the New York Post is one of the oldest and most respected. It was created by Alexander Hamilton, for God's sake.
Right.
And they were being banned on Twitter. Are you kidding me?
I know. Ridiculous.
Well, you know what the problem is? This is the problem. People get their news from Twitter. I'm in a WhatsApp group where we talk about one topic in particular. I'm not going to mention the actual topic. But one of the people in the group posts things. Like this morning, he posted something about the SCOTUS turned their back on one of the Trump lawsuits. It's not looking good for Trump. We just have to accept it's going to be Biden. So I looked at it and I started researching it, and it had nothing to do with what he was talking about. I'm like, you get your news from Twitter. You deserve what happens to you. You deserve it. I mean, it's not a place for news. It's just not. So anyway,
Yeah, I agree.
but it always makes me laugh because people will. I heard it on Twitter. So glad you heard that on Twitter. Even this whole thing, he a couple days ago, this guy in this group tweeted, "AG Barr is turning on Trump." Really? Because I went and read Barr's statement, and that's not what he said. Not what he said. Not what he said. It's fantastic.
Yeah, they love to put the spin on everything. That's for sure.
Yeah, or just outright lie. They're at the point where they just outright lie.
Oh yeah, it is. It's just, yeah. I mean, I'm seeing it. I think everybody's seeing it, So anybody with any kind of, like you said, anybody that's smart enough to do the research and understand what it is. I mean, even like, voting this year, we have like in California, so many darn things that you vote on. That they like to put the double negatives in there, so it seems like you're voting for something really good, and it's
Right.
like there's some kind of hidden little tax in there,
Right.
and it's like, and people, oh no, we're helping the environment. It's like, no, you're not.
Right. Right.
It's like you just increased tax for whatever they said it was for this, but they want to fund the schools more, and it's like, what happened to the money from the lottery? It's like there's no accountability. That's what we need to put in place, is like measures to make our school system, like LA Unified, one of the largest in the country, make them accountable for how they're spending the taxpayers' money.
And the fact that their students can't read and write.
Yeah.
And they always talk about, I love the left. They're always like, oh, we just need to throw more money at the problem. We need to throw more resources. I'll give you an example. The city of Baltimore spends approximately $21,000 per student. That's how much, which is literally one of the highest in the nation, right? $21,000 per head. And I think something like one kid out of one school could do math at the appropriate level. Out of all the schools, not just one school, out of all the schools, one kid could do math at an appropriate grade level.
I guess it only took 36 years to get to George Orwell's 1984 vision.
I know. We're there. We're almost there. The only thing that are stopping it, I have to tell you, I saw something the other night that scared me to no end, and it was actually something in Portland at a restaurant called Spiffy's. And I was watching it, and I called my friend. I said, I think I just saw the gauntlet being thrown, if you know what I mean. I can't even verbalize it, to be quite honest. But it was a meeting of patriots trying to keep a restaurant open, and they were networked and organized state to state. This particular rally was happening in Seattle, and it was peaceful. And I think they're intending for it to be peaceful, but I also think they're willing to go that extra mile if it's not peaceful. And I think I witnessed it. It was live streamed, and I think I witnessed it. The gauntlet being thrown, as it were, which is kind of scary to me.
What was it, in Staten Island, where those, people started coming and protesting them shutting down the restaurant owner? And I mean, it's starting to happen everywhere. So that's what's interesting to see too. So.
Well, but my point is, it's an organized effort. Mm-hmm. They're organized now, and they're organizing not through social media, which they realize can be taken away from them at any moment, but they're setting up. One of them was like text Patriot to 74112 or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they're finding different avenues separate from social media to create
like a Patriot flash mob or something.
Yeah, right. And it was, I have to tell you, it was scary to me because I can't even really contemplate that as where we might be heading, but it's where we might be heading.
Yeah, I agree. I think people are to the point where I'm tired of being told what to think, what to say, and everything. And just because I don't agree with what you're saying doesn't mean that my opinion doesn't count. And, I think, Matthew, you said earlier, it's scary if you open your mouth and you say the wrong thing.
Yep.
you know, and it's gotten to the point, I know here in California, the restaurants were, you know, they're trying to get it overturned about the outside dining. And a lot of them spend like $100,000 to make the outside dining, you know, an experience instead of just sitting in a parking lot. And they've bought outdoor furniture and put up, you know, walls of some sort. And it's like, and they're trying to get that overturned. And today the judge agreed with them and they overturned the outside dining law. And
Spectacular.
So, yeah. And so now Newsom's all like up in arms, you know, and his tidy whities are in a knot. But it's like, you know, he's all upset and now he's challenging them and taking it further. And, you know, but it's like they won. They basically said, you know what, it's like, this is our livelihood that you're taking away from us. You might as well kill us because everything we have, our entire life is invested into this business. And I think people are just taking a stand and it's like, you know what, you know, I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but all lives matter. I don't care.
Oh God, yeah. Oh
You
God,
know,
yeah.
and because I could get fired for saying that blows me away.
Well, you know what?
The only color I see is green. So until people understand that, because greens, I can spend green. I don't see any other color.
That's right. That's right. And what people don't realize, you know, it's so amazing to me that people to this day still bring up Charlottesville, and that Trump didn't, what was the word they use?
He did not
Denounce, condemn.
Denounce, right. Denounce. I'm like, are you kidding me? He denounced it in the same exact, that was very creative splicing.
Yeah.
He literally a minute later in the same speech, he condemned the whole the whole thing, but they didn't splice, they spliced that out.
Yeah.
And so to this day, it's still the narrative and people still believe it to this day.
And what's amazing is that we're talking about, you know, like y'all were speaking about that earlier, but the flu deaths and things like that. Well, suicide deaths are actually far outpacing any COVID deaths also, and alcohol deaths. And it's just like, this is having more of an impact on mental health than it is anything else, which is causing people to go.
Well, also look
bonkers.
at children. Look at some children who are abused at home. Their only refuge is going to school. Yeah. And now they haven't been in school for over a year. They may never return because maybe they're dead.
Yeah.
Because or mentally they'll never come back.
Right. Right. And wife, you know, battering women is up and children. There is people, to me, these things are worse. And the reality is every time I leave my house and get in my car, I take a risk.
Yeah.
So what is different about COVID?
Yeah. Somebody was saying, well, what if you got COVID? Because, you know, I mean, the vaccine, it's like, when it's available to me, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And everybody, oh, how could you do that? And I'm like, you know, hey, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. You know, if I get COVID and I go, just like you said, I could get in my car and that maybe is my time to go.
That's exactly right. Listen, up until I had my blood clot issue that I've had this year, I smoked like a fiend, right? And everybody would say, oh, you're going to die. It's like, I could die stepping off my curb.
Yeah.
The difference is I enjoy this tremendously.
Yeah.
Except now I know it's really going to kill me. So now I don't smoke. But do you see what I'm saying? Like up until that moment, anything, you could literally die doing anything. I'm about to get on a plane. The plane, it's a low shot, but the plane could come down.
Yeah.
Every single time you step out of your house, you run the risk, even in your house, you run the risk of something happening to you.
Yeah.
It's so the whole thing with COVID, you know how I know there's two things that tell me COVID is not that bad. And that is, number one, do as I say, not as I do. Everybody's flying, everybody's going out to dinner with no masks and no social distancing in the upper echelon, the elites of the world, right? I'm talking about the Dems, most specifically. Do as I say, not as I do. And they're not dying, right? And number two, we were just talking before about homeless camps in California. If COVID was huge, there'd be dead people just on the street. Tons of them.
like I've flown probably during the pandemic. I've probably flown like 8, 10 times,
Mm-hmm.
and it's amazing how you're 6 feet apart until you're right next to somebody taking your mask off, drinking and eating.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, this makes no, while you're walking into the ticketing gate, you're 6 feet apart, but then you get sit next to somebody. It's just like, okay, what is this?
Well, look at it at a restaurant. How stupid is it? You arrive at the podium with a mask on to walk 6 feet to take it off when you sit down.
Yeah.
Because
Well, and how
COVID knows when
come-
you're standing.
And how come the restaurant workers aren't getting sick?
Right. Right. Exactly. I mean, but the two things that people tend to understand more are homeless people not dying.
I've thought
And-
about that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think how close they lived and how not to be disparaging, but how disgusting they live together. You know, bodily fluids and
Yeah.
you know, it's just kind of gross.
Yeah.
They'd all be dead. Dead people everywhere. You know, my mother is a college professor. I'll never forget a conversation I had with her because the college professors are supposed to be really smart, right? And I had a conversation with her and she told me that she actually believed the reports of the deaths coming out of China. I said, Mom, I would like to know what flavor Kool-Aid you're drinking because I want to make sure I don't drink that flavor.
That's funny.
In a nation of 1 billion people, 4,000 deaths, really?
Yeah. Crazy.
Unbelievable. People just they don't have the capacity to think logically or they don't want to. I saw the best meme that sort of puts the difference between the right and left in perspective. And it was the meme was titled, "What's the difference between an activist and an SJW?" And it was there was I guess like a building that had no paralyzed no ramp for paralyzed people. And the one side of the meme, the activist went out and bought some wood and nails and hammers and built a ramp. The SJW complained and bitched and moaned about there being no ramp. And I was like, that's the difference between the right and the left. They think they're being compassionate by bitching and moaning when the right just is a problem solver and just fixes the problem. And that's true compassion. You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
I might not have said that well, but you get my point?
Yes.
Crazy world.
Well, you know, it's sort of like the compassion of the left giving everybody universal income and food stamps and all of this stuff, right? Whereas, you know, it's sort of like give a guy a fish, feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, feed him for a lifetime. It's the difference. What makes that compassionate that you're willing to give somebody universal income and food stamps? Where's the compassion in that? Give him a job.
So what, I know this is it's kind of in line with that too, because it does the same process with housing, but have you heard any rumblings and have you heard anything that's kind of talking about how long the moratorium is going to continue with Biden?
So interestingly enough, I'll use Maryland as an example because they've extended their moratorium until March, I think. I'm not sure how, I haven't heard it specifically from Biden because that's like a specific detail and Biden does anything, it's not talk about detail.
Well,
And certainly not a topic anybody's really thinking about, even though it's the most important topic in their life, really. I would tend to think that it would more follow the Maryland kind of timeline. So I would think it's probably continuing on. So that's not to say that if you started your foreclosure like before COVID happened, that you'd be all right. You still can do that, I think. I think you can still process those. I think it's what foreclosures that were initiated or that you would have liked to initiate during COVID. That's the problem. And the reason I say that is I just actually saw a video of a house in Portland being protected by Antifa. Where the people were foreclosed on, they were just evicted today
Really?
or yesterday. And the house is currently being protected by Antifa.
Hmm.
And that's Portland, which is wildly, leftist.
So is that going to be part of your trash out? Is like Antifa removal?
I would love to do that. Do you know I have to tell you, I'm so scared though for young people. I'm not so scared for young people like that are 16, but I'm scared for young people like my nephew who's like 25. Because I used to think my nephew was really smart, and he really is smart. He went to Johns Hopkins, and his first job out of college. He went and got a master's degree in robotics, or AI rather. First job out of college was a 6-figure job at Amazon. Really quite brilliant. Except he believes in Black Lives Matter and even donates money. And I'm like, you make me think you're a dunce when you do stuff like this still. Like, what are you thinking? Like, Black Lives Matter, of course, all lives matter. But Black Lives Matter, the organization, is Marxism, and all the money's funneled to the DNC.
Yep. I think that some of the professors, that is their agenda, is to teach that to the students in college.
Oh, I think that's been the agenda for decades.
Yes.
I think that's been the objective for generations. Yep.
You have these 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and that's the way they think, and they're not going to change.
Well, did you see the one teacher?
They were taught, and they changed.
Yeah. Did you see the one teacher who was complaining that parents were watching what was being taught on their Zoom class?
Boo-hoo.
Because she couldn't indoctrinate kids while that was happening.
Well, I look at it like now they want the parents to do the teaching with this home teaching and stuff like that. It's like, why don't you give up your paycheck for a change?
Right.
So they're still getting paychecks as well. So, as far as I'm concerned, some of, and I, it's like there's good teachers, but there's always the bad ones. But the universal thing is, like you're saying, universal income. What happened again to accountability with our teachers? I mean, if you do something wrong or illegal or something, you should be fired. You should not be protected with tenure and by unions for something that you do wrong. If your kids are failing school, you're not performing, and it should be performance-based and like any other job.
Absolutely.
So, it's crazy.
It's funny because people get mad at me, especially like my sister's soon-to-be husband, formerly ex-husband, gets mad at me because he works for the school system. And I always tell him, I said, in my personal opinion, I don't believe teachers should be guaranteed a pension. I just don't. Yeah. Sorry. To me, there's only 2 groups of people that should be guaranteed a pension, and that's military and first responders.
Yep, I agree.
People who protect us. That's it. Teachers, as far as I'm concerned, have the best gig of all time. Yep. They have 2 to 3 months off per year.
Yep.
They can go work as a bartender in the summer. Like that's what they do here. They go down the shore and work as bartenders. Hi, Stephen. And so they have, they literally have great jobs. In the private sector, I'm responsible for my own retirement. With a 401k or a self-directed IRA or something along that line. Why shouldn't these teachers be?
Yeah.
Why?
When they say they're not paid enough, but I wouldn't mind their salary and to work 9 out of 12 months a year and have and holiday off. You can imagine.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's, I mean, for the amount of time you actually work, it is a pretty darn good salary.
Exactly. That's my point. Exactly. First responders and military. That's it. Not Congress people, not senators. They're not, because all they do, senators and Congress people go into public service, and I'm air quoting, you can't see me. Not being wealthy. Yet somehow they managed to leave wealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Maxine Waters, who's like really a dunce.
Yeah, she is.
She really is. She's a dunce.
Yeah.
And she lives in a $6 million mansion, not even in her district.
Yeah.
You know how I know she's a dunce? She's head of the financial committee when she first got that gig, 2 years ago. And she had all the bankers in to talk about student loans. And she sits down with them and she says, "Gentlemen, what are we going to do to fix this?" And they're like, we stopped giving student loans in 2010 when the Fed took over, right? You're head of the finance committee, idiot.
It's like, are we at the same meeting?
Exactly. And the first one refused to answer her, so she turned to the next one.
It's crazy.
Like, you're an idiot. You're dunce. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Anyways, folks, I have got to jump off because my husband just got home and told me my garage is broken. So I've got to jump off and see if I can get somebody out here.
Well, spectacular that your husband is home,
I know.
and horrible that that's broken, and I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's like happy Wednesday, right?
Yay.
Anyways, I've enjoyed it. And Kathy, good luck with the transition over to enjoying your retirement.
Thank you so much.
And
like I said, we'll probably still do this. They'll be like hit or miss.
Okay. And I'm going to actually go online and I'm going to sign an NDA because I'm kind of like interested in anything you're selling off, because I've actually transitioned into buying performing because of COVID, but I really like the non-performing because I like getting the chunks. So anyways.
Yeah, we love non-performers.
Yeah. So anyways, so I'll go on and sign the NDA, but it's been a great conversation, and good night, everybody else too.
Well, thank you so much. Good night.
So Kathy?
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming that the next several weeks will be vacation time, holiday vacation?
Yeah, I'm going to be in Florida with my daughter, yes.
Okay. So it may be February before we online again?
No, I think, no, probably not. Hang on. 23, probably January 20th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm only going to Florida until the 15th. From the 15th through the 15th.
Okay.
You'll never come back.
Oh, I might never come back, actually. It's true. I might stay down there forever. I might buy my camper van. #van life. I'm so excited about it, actually. I've actually designed my own van.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. You want to see it?
Yeah.
God, I love it. I love my van. Let me see. There it is.
We see Pack.
I know. I'm going to share it with you in a moment.
Okay.
You should be able to see it now.
See a spreadsheet.
That's my camper van.
Oh, okay.
That's my van.
Oh,
You see it?
I see seats turning into a dog bed.
Yes.
Oh, that is ingenious, Kathy.
Yep, that is my van.
Whoa.
I have a bathroom here. Washer and dryer. A hidden kitty litter box with a hole by the step for the kitty to go in, with a vent on the side.
Huh. Did you do all this?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
That is what I do. I make spreadsheets, a lot of spreadsheets. That's what I do.
Uh-huh. So is this the standard length of a van?
This is the extended ProMaster,
Ah,
Ram ProMaster. John just wrote, who's building it for you? I don't have a builder yet, John. Are you a builder? You could build it for me. I could go either the extended ProMaster or I could go into schoolie, like a 24-foot schoolie. I kind of dig the schoolie.
so what else do you design on spreadsheets?
If it can be done, I have a spreadsheet for it. This is my election day spreadsheet where I have it's all automatic, where you just put in, you put in who won, and it, like if I took this out, for example, it would change. Everything changes. This is what I do. If I have to type it more than once, it becomes a spreadsheet.
Okay.
That's my rule.
Mhm.
This is how I follow everything.
All right, great. So that's the same with your notes.
Yes.
You set them up so that everything happens automatically.
Well, certain things can't happen automatically, like the actual phone calls and things, but I have a process that I board the loans into. I have a spreadsheet.
Mhm.
It's called my pack note log that I board the loans into. And then when I'm done boarding everything, in other words, capturing all the information, I just like hit a button. It creates what I call a borrower Excel, because Kathy works a little bit differently than I do. So she wants like a borrower Excel for each borrower.
Mhm.
So I just, once I'm done boarding everything, I just hit a button. It creates the borrower Excels, and then she starts working in them. So her piece is not really automatic, right?
Mhm.
But like my piece is automatic. I send out monthly statements. I do, just through a quick mail merge. I do welcome packages again through once a loan is boarded. I just hit a button. Mail merge creates welcome packages. So everything is automated in that way.
Ah, that's great.
So it just makes my life easier. And again, my rule is if I type it more than once, it becomes a process.
Uh-huh.
I sell Jets tickets every year. So every year I have the same sheet where I can follow which tickets got sold to who and when and for how much, and everything updates automatically. Like how many I have left, where I have them, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And I'm just giving you examples of how I use Excel in my life. I love Excel.
Mm.
Everybody's like, "Oh, you should go to this and you should." Like, you know what? There's nothing in my world that I've ever had to do that Excel is not capable of doing.
Hmm.
It's ridiculously robust.
So do you use Excel as a CMS,
As a what?
as a contact manager?
Well, yes and no. Like we have a spreadsheet where we keep all of our lawyers and stuff like that, but I don't really use it for that purpose. I kind of almost never go in there. I find that Outlook, once I have communication with somebody, I just kind of like, I'm a lazy person in that regard. So I personally just use Outlook, like Outlook. Once I communicate with somebody once, now their email address is in there. For Pack, we do have a CMS. I think we use what did we used to use? Oh, I think we use REI Black Book.
Hmm.
I think we use REI Black Book.
Mhm.
I don't know why I think that, but I think we do because I don't do that when somebody else does that.
Oh, okay.
That's not my area.
So you're saying you don't use any CMS on a regular basis?
No. Once you in Outlook, once you communicate with somebody, the email is just there.
Uh-huh. And the reminders there.
Yeah. I'm actually a big fan of Microsoft Office Suite.
Ah, okay.
I know that's counterintuitive to thinking Bill Gates is, evil, but I'm actually a fairly big fan of Microsoft Office.
Okay.
I find that those 5 products, and he's got way more than 5 now, but the core 5 products, I can pretty much do anything I want.
Does that include Access?
Yep. Access, though, is not really, people mistake it. They think it's like a processor. It's not really a processor. It's an information holder.
Mm-hmm.
And it just is meant to spit the information back out in a report format. Processor is Excel.
Hmm.
I think of Access more as a data archiver
Okay.
versus something that I'm actually going to process in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, for example, let's say you have us as students, and let's say you wanted to contact all your students at one time. What method would you use?
If I was going to contact all my students at one time?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Let's say you wanted to remind us about the January meeting. And let's say you're not using the meetup reminder. You want to do it yourself.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that. Why would I do that? The meetup has a reminder. Use the tools that are already meant for specific reasons.
That would be Outlook. You would use Outlook? Is that what
No.
No.
I would use Meetup.
No, I'm just saying if Meetup wasn't available. I'm saying if you were to do it yourself instead of using a third party.
I get your question. I guess my answer is I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't duplicate tools.
Uh-huh.
Tools are available. You use what's there and for the intended purpose. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I see.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Well, I'm saying, let's say Meetup did not exist.
Yeah, but if Meetup didn't exist, how would you know to come join me on Zoom calls every?
No, I'm just doing a hypothetical.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're trying to do, but I'm trying to tell you that you know about this call because of Meetup.
Yes.
And you have to sign up for Meetup with your information in order to do it. And so that's a process, that's a tool that's already established and ready to use. Why would I duplicate that process? So I understand what you're trying to get me to go with, but I for me personally, I don't do anything that I need a CMS for that I don't already have a tool for.
I see. Okay.
PAC has a tool for, and I think it's REI Black Book for CMS.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we keep lawyers and everything in a spreadsheet. But me personally, I don't have any need for mass mailings like that or emails like that there isn't already a tool for. So you don't want to complicate things. If there's Meetup is really good at what it does, so why not use it?
Okay.
Excel is really good at what it does. Why not use it?
Mm-hmm.
Keep it simple, stupid kind of thing. That the whole KISS concept.
Yes, I see.
Hi, Crystal. How are you?
I'm all right.
You don't sound all right.
I'm actually in the bed. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I'm in bed too.
I'm just listening. I work nights. Normally I'm sleeping at this time.
Listen, I've been in bed since when was the first lockdown date? Pretty much been
Oh,
in bed for
gosh.
all of that time.
Yes. Yes. So I'm just listening in right now.
Well, we're glad you're here. Do you have anything you want to ask or talk about?
Not at the moment. I think my brain is shutting down.
Oh, well, I'm glad you
sorry.
came to join. You came here to get your sleep on.
I'm trying not to.
I'm kidding.
Hopefully to learn something, right? Before the night is over, before I doze off.
Well, we've really covered the gamut of topics tonight.
Yeah.
Like crazy. And Jay now is bringing up good topics in terms of process flow.
Yes.
But are you with me, Jay?
Yeah, I'm with,
In that if something exists and is good at what it does, you just go with it. You work with it.
Which makes sense.
It's just easier.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything they want to contribute, a tool that they use that is better than the tools that we're talking about?
Nope.
Nope. Carolyn, do you use anything different?
I am into this little thing called Agile.
What's it called?
Agile,
Spell it.
Agile.
Oh, Agile.
Yeah,
And what is that?
it's a CRM.
Oh, okay.
I was using, oh gosh, Infusionsoft.
Yeah, we used to use Infusionsoft too a couple of years ago, and it was just really expensive.
Yeah, that's kind of what I started dealing with. And
Yeah.
I started scratching my head trying to figure out, all right, how can I redo this thing? And I tripped across this thing called Agile CRM, and it's got a lot of the little things that it appears to have a lot of the things that Infusionsoft had. Well, but it's only at like 1/10 of the cost.
Yeah, Infusionsoft is sort of like the best in class software, and then everything else is sort of underneath it.
Yeah, but then they had a lot of components in there for what am I wanting to say? Not sales and marketing, but online sales and marketing.
Right. And the flow, because there's a lot of flow involved.
Yeah, and I just wasn't using it. I mean, I was using a piece of it, and yeah, it wasn't that it wasn't a good product. I just got to the point where it's like the cost is not outweighing the benefit.
Right. And especially like, and that's the case for me too. Like, for me, I intend to, the biggest thing I do is mail out statements every month in terms of needing a CMS. So for me, I do that out of my note log with a mail merge. So
Yeah,
that's the tool I already employ with the data that I'm already housing. Why duplicate the process?
yeah,
And I'm an IT person. So you have to remember, like, if you have to enter something more than once, that's potential for mistakes. So you only want to enter stuff one time.
well, see, that would lead me down the path of asking, I don't know what you're using to do your financials with, but
I'm using Al Sansoni.
Oh, okay. Because they appear to have something of a CRM attached to QuickBooks.
Yeah, we use QuickBooks.
Yeah, and then
but we don't use the CRM for it.
Okay, I was going to say, gosh, you could just send probably all your statements right out of QuickBooks and let it go.
No, don't want to do that.
Okay.
No, our statements are pretty involved. They list all the arrears, the late fees, everything.
Ah, okay, sorry.
And there's a whole like, we're offering you a 20% discount if you pay it off today. Every single month, we send the same letter
Yeah,
with the same information. Like, if you take advantage today, you get 20% off. So it's like a whole there's a whole letter and there's a lot of detail. I have a whole like chart set up inside the mail merge document.
Yeah. Well, folks, it's time for me to take off.
Well, thank you, Jay. I know we didn't do a lot of notes tonight. We got largely, on
we
topic.
solved the problems of the world.
We
Yes.
did. And we discovered that what's up is down and what's down is up.
Yes.
And we're living in bizarro world.
Mhm.
Remember that? Does everybody remember that episode from Seinfeld?
Mm-mm.
I don't.
You don't remember the bizarro world episode where he was in an alternate universe with the same characters but like different? Oh gosh. All right. Well, we live in bizarro world. Well, Jay, look for me on January 20th.
Okay. I got
All
you.
right.
I got it down on my calendar, January 20th.
Yay.
And I think I'm going to cut out as well, Kath. Have a good holiday.
Yes, you too. Everybody enjoy.
I hope Santa brings you everything that you were wishing for.
Santa has already brought me everything that I want, so I'm
There you
kind of
go.
a happy gal.
Okie doke, have a happy, and all that other wonderful stuff. Catch you next year.
Okay, y'all.
Happy Santa to you guys, and same to you. I hope you get everything you desire as well.
See ya.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Bye. Happy New Year too. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Bring in 2021. We need it. We need the sanity.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a great rest of the night.
All right. Good night.
John, did you see my
you.
answers? Oh, you did see. All right. Very good. Are you a builder? Oh. Yeah, I'm either going to build that one or I'm going to buy something that's really beautiful. So I'm sort of, but I don't want an RV because RVs have black water tanks and I absolutely don't want a black water tank. So, so that's like the last thing that I want. Oh yes, quite right. I've been on this trip for I think about 3 or 4 years now, so I've really been doing a lot of research into it. So, and sort of determining what I want. So I'm kind of I'm kind of ready to buy right now, since we're winding pack down. I'm ready to go for it, but like you say, I don't want to. I want to be very careful about what I buy. But anyway, have a great rest of the night. Oh, personality and skill level of yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Without question. Yeah, I tend to, you know what my problem is? I tend to believe that everybody is really a good person right up front. And so I give everybody the benefit of the doubt up front. And I tend to get bit a little for doing that. It doesn't change me. I still continue to be that way, but I tend to get taken advantage of sometimes because I give everybody the benefit of the doubt up front. So yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Well, it's funny. Right away up front, I know when I don't like somebody. Like that goes without, like, right up front I can decide whether I want to actually hang out with somebody or not. But I always assume that they're an honest person. That's kind of my problem. always my first assumption is that people are honest. You need to get a microphone so we can chit chat. Yeah, a new machine is always a good thing. Actually, they're very cheap now. They're like I actually just found one for Kathy that was because she doesn't need a powerhouse anymore, so she wanted to just get a smaller one. I think it was like $450. As far as the USB mic, the headphone that I have with the mic and everything is like, it was like $30. Just put the headphone on, USB it, and it was like $30. You get everything you need. It wasn't a tremendously powerful machine, but that was the whole point. She didn't really need a tremendously powerful machine anymore. But I mean, it was a you know, an iCore 7. It was decent. It wasn't crappy. I mean, they're all decent nowadays. I have oh, what brand of headset? What is it? It's called, oh, it's Egghead. Egghead. I think it's a store too, actually. Egghead. Yeah, the accessories come as you need them, right? So now you need a headset, so go out and get a headset. Well, all right. You have a great holiday and a great new year, and look for us again on January 20th. Hashtag van life. Do you watch them? Do you watch Van City Van Life with Chrome and Cruz? Do you? Or Foresty Forest? I love Foresty. Those are the only two I watch. I watch Chrome and Foresty Forest, the guy who lives in the little micro camper. I love to watch him cook. He's so funny because he has his crock pot that he bought at the dollar store or wherever he got it. And he like makes these magnificent little meals in his crock pot, and he goes off and, you know, hikes for 7 hours, and he comes home and he eats. Foresty is funny. Chrome is funny too. I like Chrome too because he goes either backcountry or in the city. It's great. Which other ones do you watch? Some of them I find annoying, like oh yeah, the living in the Bronco. Yeah, people who are actually living in an SUV and they have like these incredibly awesome setups. Yeah. I also watch things that are not associated with living in a van. Like I watch Matt Pesos, who camps with his dogs. He does all these weird like he'll go camp like in the most ridiculous places with his dogs. And also I watch Steve Wallace, who will camp in anything, anywhere, anytime. He does like weird camping too. Like today I'm going to camp in a highway median, and nobody's going to know. Or today I'm going to camp behind this city sign and nobody's going to know. So I watch all of those. I'm just fascinated by it. I think it's amazing. I have watched Living in a Yurt, and I know, and I would live in a yurt. And this is going to go against what I said before, that I generally believe that people are honest when I first meet them, but I don't have a whole lot of trust for the American public, which means if I lived in a yurt, all it would take was a knife to break into my house. So, 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 so I would love to like hang out. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's gorgeous. You can hook those things up. Yeah, I'm always thinking about the security aspect of it. Like in my van, you can't see it on the layout there, but I have a spot for a safe, like a secret spot for an RFID safe. It is terrible that it's part of the consideration. It absolutely is. But in today's world, I mean, you know, it's weird because I live in a neighborhood that it's really fantastic. It's incredibly diverse. You know, I have all kinds of neighbors, and I have a great little neighborhood here. Like if Amazon, like I've had Amazon deliver packages, leave them right on my front steps, which is like 8 feet from the sidewalk, and me not go out and get them until like the next day. And they're still there. Like I don't have porch pirates. I don't have I mean, a couple times I left my car door open with money on the front seat, and 3 days later it's still there. So I live in an amazingly fantastic neighborhood. And it's really diverse and it's really lovely. But I can't imagine doing that in like New York or, you know, a different town other than where I live. It's just really safe here. And my neighbors are great. I live in Jersey. Jersey is a really safe state to live in. It's hell politically, but it's a great state. I live in Central Jersey. I live like just south of Linden. I actually live in the ghetto, if you really want to know the truth. I always joke around. I'm like, yeah, I live in the ghetto, but it's not really the ghetto. It's actually really nice. I live in Rahway. Did you ever hear, have you heard of Rahway State Prison? Which is not really in Rahway. Not even in the same county as Rahway. Oh shit, I have to take my medicine. I'm gonna take my medicine, I'll die. So I actually I could walk to Rahway State Prison from where I live. Where are you, Jay? Or John, you're in aren't you in New York? Right, you're in New York. Schenectady. How close to Sing Sing are you? Ossining. Yeah, I know it's snowing up there. It should be snowing here, but I think it might be too cold to snow. I'm freezing. I'm like wrapped up in my blanket wearing a hoodie. Oh yeah, you're way closer to Albany. Right. Huh. We have a house up in Adirondack, New York, in the Adirondacks. But it's a town called Adirondack. And I say house loosely, it's like a cabin. But I used to spend every summer up there. It's a lot of fun. New York is beautiful outside of the 5 boroughs. It just is gorgeous. In the 5 boroughs, it's hell. But outside of it, it's fantastic. So like I'm from this area, like citified, but I'm like so countrified, it's not even funny. Like I belong in the country versus the city. I hate the city. No, didn't go there this year. You kidding? You caught in New York with Jersey plates, you'd be in trouble. We also have a house in Italy that I didn't go to either. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And have a great holiday season. And look for me January 20th. Yes, you do. But I'd like you to pitch in. Get one of these $30 headphones. Join in. I made Jay get one. Jay used to come every week and never speak. And I made him get a microphone, and now he talks. Love it. All right. Have a great, you know what? Get one for Christmas. All right. Have a great season, and I'll catch you next year. Bye.